Percy were in the yard shunting trucks. However, he didn't like it. "I get my paintwork all filthy." "Same here," said Thomas. They were doing the train. The train was getting ready to be pulled out of the yard. Thomas coupled up to the front, and Percy coupled up to the back. They pulled the train out of the station. However, disaster was about to strike. Big Thomas was pulling Annie and Clarabel. He was just buckling up and staying it there. All of a sudden, the coupling snapped. Thomas went this way, but Percy went this way. He uncoupled and applied his brakes, but it was too late. Percy was shocked. He accidentally hit Thomas. Thomas was safe, but he'd seen it himself. When the other engines heard about it that night, they were enjoying teasing him about it. "Ho, ho, ho," said Gordon. My, little Thomas and Percy. You sure don't know how to handle trucks like we big engines do." "Bossy boiler," said Percy. "You're getting too big for your wheels." The others teased Thomas and Percy about it all through the night. The next day, the Fat Controller came to the sheds. "Gordon," he said, "you, Edward, and Henry are supposed to pull a very special goods train today." "Sure thing," said the three engines. "We can handle trucks. Thomas and Percy can't." And one by one, the three engines passed out of the sheds. Here was the train. The train was really heavy and was split into so many that they had to cut it into three, and they had to share it out between each other. Gordon pulled Annie and Clarabel. Henry pulled the trucks, and Edward pulled the jet engine and the mail. And so the three engines set off. Little Henry and little James were still teasing them about it. "Oh, little Thomas and Percy, you really don't know how trucks are meant to be handled, do you? I wonder why the Fat Controller gave you both the branch line to share sometimes." Thomas and Percy puffed away to get coaches ready for the station. They both pushed the coaches into the station, then they seen something that surprised them. All three of the engines were coming in at high speeds. But then disaster struck. They crashed. "Oh no," said Thomas and Percy. They rushed to help. Thomas and Percy came over to tease them. Well, said Thomas and Percy. "I suppose you big engines don't know how to handle trucks either. I am surprised of you. I thought you would be able to." And they cheekily went away. That night in the sheds, all the engines were careful never to speak of that again, although Edward was seriously damaged and he had to go to Crewe to be repaired. The big engines were embarrassed that they couldn't handle trucks properly. James came back from Crewe. He had just been at Crewe, and he was back, but now they had to wait for Edward. A week later, Edward came back, and they all were happy. Later, the engines learnt from the Fat Controller that there was a race on Sodor where it was like an Olympic event but for trains. Bertie brought the news. "Hey everyone, the Fat Controller told me that there is a race coming up on Sodor." All the engines were very excited. They had never been in a race before. James went away to get a new exciting colour and shape. Thomas went away to be streamlined. So did Gordon. Later, the three of them came back with a new exciting design. Gordon first. "Look at me now, James. I'm now streamlined. I'll be sure to win the race." Then Thomas came in. "Look at me, Percy. I'm got streamlined." Then James came back. "Look at me now." Then all of the engines got a big surprise. James's brother came in. "Oh, hi there, brother," said Bumblebee James. "I just heard there was a great railway show and I just couldn't help but come." I see, said James. Thomas went away, then James and Bumblebee James, then Gordon and Henry, then James and Edward, then finally Henry and Percy. Everybody was going to the Great Railway Show, including Bertie. When the other engines arrived, it was already bustling. All of the engines that were competing for the fastest engine Okay, let's restart that in 3, 2, 1. All of the other engines that were competing in the race were all ready. They were all lined up, ready to go. The announcer started speaking. On track 1, we have Hurricane, one of the fastest engines on the mainland, with a record of 68 wins. Then we have Diesel 10. Listen to the crowd go wild, folks. This engine has it all. He has a crushing, crunching claw, which he will not use to his advantage today. On track 3, we have Douglas, the Scottish engine, and with the famous number 10 and the incredibly long look on his face today. On track 4, we have James from the island of Sodor, and look at his new look, everybody. This is a brilliant engine. Then we have Gordon, who seems to be streamlined now, with a star as his new emblem. Then we have Thomas the Tank Engine, and just look at him. He looks so ready to race. Then we have Big City Engine, and listen to the crowd go wild again, everybody. He is one of the best engines on the line. These are all the engines that are going to be competing in the Great Race today. They waved their flag, and the race is off, folks. It seems that James is in the lead, folks, although it looks like he's about to take over. And Douglas has taken over. Douglas is in the lead. Oh, but Diesel 10, he's come back from far behind. And the Little Blue Tank Engine dogs just came out of nowhere. The Little Blue Tank Engine is in the lead. And Big City Engine is taking a little bit further to come up. But Gordon, the little engine, is coming back. I'm not little. It seems that it is a competition between Gordon and Thomas. Oh, who's going to win? Thomas the Tank Engine won! Thomas has won the Great Race, and he has proven the fastest locomotive in the world. All of the losers stayed there while Thomas got his interview. Thomas, the Little Blue Tank Engine from Sodor, who is now streamlined for the race, has come back. Let's just take one final look at Thomas. So we zoom in on his face. He looks very confident and ready, doesn't he, folks? And then we go back down here to his body design. His body design is definitely some of the finest I've seen. And then we can have a look at his 6 more wheels. And we can also have a look at his extraordinary number 1 emblem there. And this is the engine that won today. The next race was the test of strength. Now here we go, everybody, the announcer said. Are you ready for the test of strength? Today we will truly see who the fastest and the strongest locomotive is. Today we've already seen who the fastest is. Let's see who the strongest is. They are going to be attached to something. Now, all of these trucks may look different, but trust me, they are not any different. I repeat, there will be no advantages to any engine because these are all weigh the same. I repeat, there is no advantage. So, let me get them all lined up in line. And 3, 2, 1, and they are going. They are starting. As you can see, Henry is getting a good head start. Merlin is pulling in. We have Vinny as well. I didn't even say the engine's names. So we have Merlin who's pulling now. Vinny who's pulling now. We have Marion right there with her bucket. We have Diesel and we have Henry. And they are all getting pulled. Oh. And it seems Vinny is about to take the lead. Oh no, Merlin's taking the lead. Merlin's about to take the lead, but Henry's coming in. Now these weigh a very lot. These weigh a lot, so that's why they're struggling. Diesel's coming in, and Merlin and Henry both won at the same time. All of the other losers went there, while Henry and Merlin got uncoupled. Now they can go as fast as they like, ladies and gentlemen. And they did. They both went over to their interview where they would get inspected. First, let's look at Henry, the green engine. Listen to the crowd. Go wild, folks. These are no ordinary engines. These are some of the strongest engines in the world. Let's have a look at his face of determination. Then we will look at his wheels over here. There's 6 as well. And at his trusty green tender with his tools at the back. This is one extraordinary engine and his new model shape as well. Now let's have a look at Merlin with the engine with 3 funnels and a silver to go with it as well. His number 783 on the back. His wheels as well, he has 3 too. And he is incredible. He is one of the finest experimental engines on the globe. All of the winners went over here where they could spectate. Thomas decided to take off his streamlining. Now Thomas is just ordinary like he was before, and so did Gordon, but he is going to be racing Bertie. Thomas and Bertie both asked if they could have permission to have a little race here. Alright, on track 1, and the only track, we have Thomas, and we also have Bertie the bus over here. But who's this? We have a racing car called Lightning McQueen, who is also going to be competing. Huh? I didn't ask for him. Neither did I. I don't know who he is. 3, 2, 1. Oh. Okay. I suppose we don't need to worry about Lightning McQueen, Bertie. Let's just race like we always do. Oh, I'm getting in front of you. Lightning McQueen crashed. Bye, Lightning. Next time, don't go so fast. And Thomas is about to win. But Bertie's about to win too. Thomas has applied his brakes to let Bertie in first place. Now that is the most kindest thing I've ever seen a tank engine do. He let Bertie win, and so Bertie and Thomas both have a trophy to share. That is such a nice thing. Bertie wins the race for the fastest, but Thomas also wins for being brave and kind to help someone else. McQueen came to stay on Sodor. He was happy about it. He loved going fast, although he did know it could cause problems like this. All the engines were happy that little bit of excitement came in, but they were still bored on the island of Sodor. The only work they had to do was shunt trucks, and that wasn't fun at all. So Thomas and Percy decided to make a game of it. They'd push trucks and see how far they would go. They should make this as a challenge in the Sodor's Great Race. They should, said Thomas. You ready? And push. He went here. Very well, said the Fat Controller. I will mark it by going there. Now it's Thomas's turn. Let's see if he can push it any further. And he pushed it further. And that means that the Fat Controller has marked it here. Thomas won the race. Oh well, Percy, said Thomas. We all lose sometimes, but we've got to remember we can't let our friendship get out of hand, because we're never going to get something let our friendship go away. Even if we're competitors in a race, we won't let that spoil our friendship.